Hello and welcome to the Disabilities on Campus Module 1, Talk Rights and Responsibilities. In Modules 1 and 2, you will meet the Accessibility Advising Team at the University of Alberta. We'll begin by speaking with Oksana Chepesh, the Accessibility Advising Team Lead. Hi Oksana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So in your work with students, what inspires you most as the Accessibility Advising Team Lead of all of the advisors as well as with students?
Disabilities used to be stigmatized, and students who with disabilities who work with service providers tend to feel reserved and prefer not to disclose and not to discuss their circumstances or how their diagnosis impact their ability to learn and how diagnosis impact their everyday life. It's great to see how students are different now, use different approaches, and their parents also participate in these discussions. Students discuss how diagnosis impact their studying, their learning experiences, and students are looking for accommodations and for creative solutions together with service providers, faculty, and anybody in university community.
Well, thank you. That's very comprehensive. I was a student with a learning disability, and I remember being really concerned about confidentiality. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of confidentiality around accessing accommodations?
Students with disabilities have right to confidentiality. We use several levels of protection of student confidential information, and we only share with service providers information they require to provide services. And confidential student information is not showing on your university transcript, on your student record, or degree certificate.
So can you talk about some of the other rights that students have when they are accessing accommodations through the university?
As a student with accessibility needs, you can contact your office and you will receive tools, adjustments and services necessary for enhancing or restoring the ecosystem of your academic functioning. You as a student will receive a full assessment of your accessibility needs. You will receive appropriate referrals to other assessments and other services, and you also will receive accommodations that will help in your academic experience. The idea of accommodations is to provide you with all tools and support necessary for demonstrating competency of your course and your program requirements.
Okay, thank you very much. In our next questions, we will be addressing student responsibilities as a student diagnosed with a permanent disability. So we're speaking with Dina Hensel. Hi Dina, how are you doing today?
Hi Tracy, I'm doing very well. I do have to admit that I am a little bit affected by the lighting that's here, and so I'm wearing my sunglasses so that that doesn't bother me so much. I do have Irlen syndrome, and so the lighting, full spectrum lighting really bothers my eyes.
Okay, well, so to start off with, we want students to get to know you. Mm-hmm. So can you tell me a little bit about what helps you connect to students when you meet with them in your role as an accessibility advisor?
What I find really helps is just to kind of meet the students where they are. Not all students are ready to talk about accommodations when they meet with an advisor. Sometimes a little bit of trust building has to happen, right? There are some students, I've had some students who have had an anxiety attack as soon as they've entered my office. And so we just kind of sit and talk about things until they feel that they can continue. Also, some students feel pretty isolated in their disability, and they're not always comfortable with talking about the impacts of their diagnosis and how it affects them academically. And so just having some of that understanding, or to just kind of relay understanding to them, kind of makes them feel a lot more better about being in my office and talking about the challenges that they experience.
Oh, thank you. So earlier we spoke with Oksana, and she was talking about some of the rights that students have having a permanent disability at the University of Alberta. And now we want to talk a little bit about the responsibilities. So is there a shared responsibility for students accessing accommodations for their academics?
Absolutely. Basically, the student, and I guess in part the accessibility advisor, they're kind of partners in that, right? So the student has to, come to us as soon as they can to talk about accommodations. They need to work very closely with their healthcare practitioner when it comes to documentation so that they can have accommodations. Then they need to meet with the advisor and be very clear about what impacts they're going to experience. And then they just have to kind of follow the process. The advisor will guide the student through all the steps that they need to take, and they really just need to trust in the process. Some things don't happen right away, some things will, but they really just have to trust in the process and do what the accessibility advisor tells them to do, or guides them to do.
Okay, thank you. We're now going to speak with another member of the accessibility advising team, Brenda Rietzma. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm great. So we've been getting to know all of the advisors, and I've been asking them a little bit about things that inspire them, things that help them connect to students. So what were some things that really interest you in your role as an accessibility advisor?
I'm interested in the different disabilities that individuals have and learning from them how it impacts their learning. I find that I'm finding out new things every day, which helps me to grow and be better at what I do.
Absolutely. So we spoke with Dina earlier, and she talked about the different responsibilities that students have in setting up accommodations. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what are the next steps after students have met with an accessibility advisor the first time. What are the next things that students can expect they need to take care of?
Okay. There's a wide variety of different services that are available to students. Typically, they'll get an email outlining their accommodations and who they need to meet with. So it's important to kind of look at it and determine what they need to do first. Usually meeting with an adaptive technologist to find out if there's some particular technology that they need, or a learning strategist such as yourself to find out, now that I'm going to university, what kind of skills do I need that maybe I didn't have in high school. Sometimes they need to get in right away and activate their accommodations if they're coming right at the beginning of the term, and book their exams, which is really important because there are deadlines for booking, and if you miss the deadline, you will not get your accommodations.
Okay, so if a student did not book their exams and they're experiencing stress over that, is there support for them to talk that through, to figure out what the next steps might be?
Yeah, certainly they can contact their accessibility advisor, who will let them know what they need to do in regards to either meeting with a strategist to figure out how they're going to write the exam, or talking to their instructor.
So there's support there. The deadlines are very important, but there's always support there.
Right, yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay.